everyone's palate changes over time. There's an interesting wine competition in that they actually photographed the tongues of the of the judges, and they counted the number of taste bud receptors per square centimeter. And they broke those judges down into 3 groups: ultra-sensitive, sensitive, and standard. And what they determined was that the ultra-sensitive were about 80% women, 20% men, and the standard was the opposite. So what that means is that men's tongues generally have fewer taste buds, and over time those taste buds die. So just from a palate standpoint, when you're younger, you tend to like sweeter wines, lighter wines, fruitier wines. But as you age, not only does your palate change and your preferences change, but your actual physical tongue changes in the sense of what it's going to pick up. So as you age, men tend to have a need for more impactful wine, something with more acid, something with more tannin, something with more flavor, something with more oomph to it, and body and character, all of those things. And so I don't think I'm any different in that I need those more impactful wines and but I can enjoy any well-made wine. There is a level of sophistication that everyone's palate goes through, increased sophistication. Being in the wine industry, I spend a lot of time with my nose in a glass trying to determine what is happening with the wine. Whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, I want to be able to decipher what's happening, and more of that happens really through my nose than it does through my taste buds. I do wine taste a bit different than anyone else. If I go into a region that maybe is well known for a particular variety, Zinfandel, Syrah, Cab, whatever, that's all I will taste throughout the day. I'm going to be that odd duck that just simply stays with one throughout the day, because I'm going to try to pick up the nuanced differences between the individual wineries. You can take the same batch of grapes, the same box of grapes, and you can hand it to 10 different winemakers, and you can get 10 slightly different wines out of that. And the winemaking is 1,000 decisions, and each one of those decisions does impact the outcome of that final wine. And that's really what I'm looking for, is if grapes in a region are of a particular type, I want to know the differences of what the winemaker brings to the table. And that's honestly came from a winemaking course that I had at Fresno State. It's just understanding those 5 key elements of wine tasting and just putting those to practice. I haven't entered a wine competition in probably 6-7 years. For a period of time we did it quite often. We would do 4 or 5 a year. A wine competition, you're judged against a standard that usually is a UC Davis-based standard 20-point system. You're not competing against other wines per se, you're competing against a standard. So if they had 50 Cabernet Sauvignons, each wine is going to be judged against that standard. Color, flavor, taste, finish, all of those things come into play, and they score based on that. So you could have 50 gold medals if they're all really good wines, or you could have 10 that are gold medals. The most notable competitions are going to be California State Fair. That's probably the biggest. Orange County is big, San Diego is big. These are ones that I value their opinion. Then there's other competitions that are more of a regional type of competition. But the statewide competitions are the big games. Those are the ones that if you enter 5 wines and you get 5 awards, then you feel like you've done a really good job. If you enter 5 wines and you get 5 gold medals, then you definitely did a good job. And I have found that I could go to 5 competitions, I could enter those same 5 wines, and I can get different outcomes at those different competitions. So there is some play of interpretation and perspective from the individual wine judges, and so you just have to take that into account. But it is good to know that this region can compete. Some of the best wines, especially port, Peter Ficklin is legitimately the best port winemaker in the United States. So, and he's 7 miles from here, and he consistently will get gold medals, Chairman's Awards, double golds. Same with Quaddy. Every winery that's here has entered in competitions and has done well. The thing about competitions is I originally thought, okay, if I did well in a competition, it would convert into sales. It doesn't really. It really doesn't. I mean, you might get a few here or there, people that follow competitions and will buy wines based on the outcome of that competition. It gives you some gravitas, but it really doesn't equate to the same level of acceptance of standing at the bar and drinking the wine. That means more to the individual that's going to buy that bottle of wine than any of this. It doesn't matter how beautiful our grounds are, it doesn't matter what awards we've gotten, doesn't matter how we dress, it's the wine. Because when they get it home, that's what they're going to have, is they're going to have the wine. And so that's what it needs to be judged against. And that's why we honestly spend most of our efforts at the tasting room. We have wine club that is nationwide, and we do events, but I don't do many outside events anymore because I really want them to come here. I want them to experience, I want them to taste the wine.